So I was cleaning out the bed in front of the house here, and trying to prepare it to decide what I was going to do with it. Most years, to be honest with you, I don't do anything. And I literally just let it do whatever it wants. And it has these really cool weeds that have nice flowers. And I sort of this is all lilac bushes that are just wild. You can see they've grown up and broken my deck trellising. So, and I just really let it do whatever it wants. I'm not one for worrying about the aesthetics of things too much. But I wanted to look for some spaces to plant some medicinal herbs and stuff like that. So I'm sort of trying to see what I have available for bed space. So anyway, I was cleaning out the bed space and it was all overgrown, as you can imagine. And I went to pull this thing out. And hopefully you can see this. And it bit me. The bugger bit me. Really bit me. And I realized that this is a rose bush. It's a rose bush. Now, I have been complaining to everybody for quite some time now that I want more roses placed in the back to use as a border, right? And I really don't know if you can see that. And so yeah, ask and the universe provides. It's not exactly where I wanted it, but it is here. So it's not a good time of year for me to do some cuttings from it, which was my original thought. And I don't want to just leave it here because it's kind of in a random place and I want to use this space for something else. And if there's a big rose bush here, it's going to be really hard to navigate around. So that means that Hildy has to dig up and move the rose bush. Now, I've never done that before. I can only imagine what a pain in the ass it's going to be. I have done some research on it, so I know what to do about it. I'm just not really looking forward to the doing of it. So anyway, this is what I have to move. It's pretty tall. I mean, it's a good, 4.5 feet tall, and it's got several branches going off of it. So we'll see. This is the hole that the thing came out of, and this is the root. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sorry if you guys can't see, but as many of you know, I'm blind, so I don't know what the camera's picking up. That's the root, and this is the plant. Okay, so now I'm wondering, I thought this was a rose plant, and I did go online and ask my herbal ID group or my plant ID group, and they did confirm that it was a rose pretty quickly, everybody. But I also thought that roses had quite delicate root systems. And as you can tell from this, where's my hand? You can tell from here, some of these roots are pretty freaking thick. So I don't know now. Mind you, it's a wild rose, so you would think it would have thicker roots. Hopefully, I left enough of the root system to be able for it to live and grow. I'm hoping. There's a little bit there. So I'm going to go and stick it in the hole, and I'll let you know how that goes. So this is the hole that I've dug. And the plant. So I don't know, I think it's deep enough. I'm going to put in a little bit of compost maybe, but I'm going to mix in mostly the regular soil and plant it and water it and cross my fingers. Okay, so here it's planted. I put in compost because the soil here is really, really full of clay. Normally I'm not one to amend soil. I'm a really cheap and lazy gardener, so I don't do that whole soil amendment, add compost, add fertilizer, add growth hormone, add this, that. I put it in dirt and add water and assume Mother Nature will take care of it, or she won't. So, but here I put in compost. I had a bag of compost because I'm going to do an above ground raised bed, and I needed it for that. And it's really soily here, really full of clay here, so I added the compost to it. Now, here's a lesson for you guys. I don't know if you can see it. See how it sort of leans? The branches tend to go forward. The root is planted straight, but the branches are like going in a direction, right? So I was sitting on the other side of it and I was planting it, and it all went very smoothly and it looked great and everything. And I realized it was planted, it was leaning in towards the yard, and I didn't want to do that because on either side here I have garden beds. No, they're not very well maintained. We'll get to that. But I have garden beds, so I didn't want the thorns to take up too much room too quickly. I would prefer that they spread out backwards and on either side if possible, you know. So I thought, oh, well, okay, I'm going to turn the plant around. No big deal, right? I just dug the hole. I'll just pull it up and dig another hole. I did this sitting on the other side of the plant. I turned it around and I started to put in the soil, and I realized that I'm wearing a thick padded lumberjack jacket, not because, and long pants, not because it's so cold out here, because it really isn't. I intentionally wore this to plant and dig up this plant because it's full of very, very sharp thorns. And when I say very sharp, I'm not kidding. I don't mean they hurt a little bit. I mean, they actually will scratch you to ribbons. Look at this. They're really sharp. So I intentionally put on something thick and padded so that if it touches me, it won't scratch me. You know, and it's going to touch me because I'm being a little rough with it and I'm moving it out of its place and it's not happy and whatever. That's fine. But I realized as I was planting the plant and I was on the other side and it was leaning in the direction that I was on, it had attached itself to my hat and my jacket. So when I stood up, it came with me and then attached itself everywhere to my jacket and then to my pants. And I couldn't get it off because it's very difficult to touch. Even with gloves on, these go through the gloves very easily. So there's nowhere to grab it from but the root. And I couldn't get to the root because it kept, you know, it's like a dog chasing its tail. It's attached to me. Every time I would move, the root would move with me. And I swear to God, I struggled with this thing for 5 minutes. The more that I tried to try and get the plant off me, the more it would stick to me. And then it was starting to scratch me. It was starting to scratch my face, my hands. And I'm actually standing out here. You can see there's no one around. I'm standing out here calling for help, for somebody to come and take this plant off me, to have it stop attacking me. And nobody showed up. So eventually I put my foot down on the root. I was able to get to it and got free of the plant. And to be quite honest with you, I just sat a few feet away from it for a few minutes and had a discussion with it, you know, catch my breath and my sensibilities and explain to the plant that, you know, the sooner that she let me do this, the sooner she'd be left alone and could, you know, recover. And I was trying to do her a favor, otherwise she would have just gotten cut down. Anyway, I know it's crazy. I'm talking to plants. That's who I am. That's what I do. So then I turned it around and I decided to come on this part of the plant to plant it in so that it's leaning away from me. And so here's the plant planted after a minor life or death struggle with me. And I'm going to go get some water and give it a good drenching and then maybe add some more compost onto it. This soil is just, it's so useless. It's so useless. It's clay and it's, look, and it's dry. It's terrible. So I'll use compost for the rest. I'll sacrifice my compost. Yeah, so I thought that was funny. I thought I would share that with you guys. Here's the planted plant. I'm going to go look up and make sure that it's a rose bush. I'm pretty sure it is. It freaking better be after what it put me through. I swear to God, between the digging it up and it attacking me and digging a hole into the hard ground, this thing better be a rose bush. But I think it is. I'm just going to go double check and see what I can find out. And I'll give it a drink of water and that's it. And so I will keep you updated throughout the year. I don't think it's going to flower this year. Quite honestly, I will just be very impressed with myself if it stays alive. I'm not going to ask anything more of it than that. And we'll see what it is and we'll see how it does. And that's it. I gave it a good drink of water, and then I just came out and put out some of my leaf mulch around it. So yet another use for Hildy's leaf mulch. Woohoo! Yay, leaf mulch. Okay. So it's standing up still, which is totally a good sign. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. Happy gardening.